Hi, friends. I'm trying to get myself, but you guys, I haven't figured this out yet. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm starting like a little bit early because of my technical difficulties. My computer, you guys, the cursor stopped working today. I have to do everything by finger. So it's very traumatic for me, this technological difficulty that I have. Okay, everyone hold tight. I'm going to be back in 3 minutes. I just want to make sure that I'm not, missing people. You guys, I don't trust myself with the technology. It's like, it's stressful to me. I don't think you guys get that. Okay. I need a technical person to love me. Yes. Okay. I will be back in a couple minutes. You guys, we're talking about men and intimacy tonight. Woo. I'm excited. Okay, guys, it just turned 8. Everybody tell Weebles he's beautiful. Everyone has to tell Weebles he's beautiful. This is what we do in our family. We tell Weebles how gorgeous he is. Okay. All right. You guys know me. Hopefully, I'm Naomi Bloom. And welcome to my little talk. And I'm going to talk tonight about men and intimacy. Aren't you all very excited? I like to give a little disclaimer. I'm a psychotherapist, but I'm not your therapist. And so if you need a therapist, find a good one. It's not easy during COVID. I'm not going to like bullshit you guys, but it's worth waiting for a good therapist. So I'm not your therapist. I am a therapist. Right now, I'm just a friend telling you some stuff, okay? I'm just going to tell you about men and intimacy, okay? It's going to be exciting. You guys, everyone's like, my production quality is bad. You guys, I don't like, I went to school for like psychotherapy. I did not go to school for production. I tried to improve my lighting. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying, you guys. This is like all new to me, okay? So, you guys, thanks for coming. Tonight, we're going to talk about men and intimacy, and I'm super excited. So, how did I get interested in the topic of men and intimacy, or men in general? Okay, so guys, I'm going to totally level with you. I've been obsessed with men since I was like a person, okay? So I'm just like, who is this other entity? Let me study this. So I always like to tell people that I've been like studying men my whole life. I've just like only been paid for it for like 15 years. And so I specialize in psychotherapy in like couples and men and intimacy and other things. But that's the work I enjoy the most. So that's that. Um, so it's weird. Like male clients often ask me, like, how do you understand so much about men since you're a woman? And I'm just like, that's a good question. Someone asked me that, and I was just like, that's a really good question. And so I thought about it, and I'm just like, I have a lot of male energy. Clearly, I'm like a feminine person, but I have a lot of male energy. So I'm just like, there's that. There's like all the zillions of books I've read and hours of studying I've done on like male psychology and male development and like male archetypes and male sexuality. So it's like, you guys, clearly I'm obsessed with you men, okay? Clearly I have an issue, all right? Because I've studied myself about this, okay? So I've done this. You guys, also half of my practice are men. Half. Think about that. Men don't like tend to go to psychotherapy as much as women, but half of my practice are men. And if you add couples into that, it's a lot more than that. Okay, so I hear people's stories. I hear like the real deal, you guys. And I'm here to share some of that with you. I'm here, okay, this is not going to be exhaustive. I'm going to start offering seminars and some like workshops and stuff on like healthy marriage, maximizing midlife, like, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be giving an overview here, but I'm going to give like in a more exhaustive thing in some sort of seminar or something. I haven't like actually figured it out yet, but I'll let you know when I do. So, general overview, okay? And you guys, here's what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to give you this is what you're supposed to tell people what you're going to talk about, and then talk about that thing, and then tell them what you talked about. That's what I learned in some class. I don't really know if that's like a thing, but so I'm going to give a general overview about men and sexuality, intimacy. I'm going to talk about turn-ons. Everybody wants to hear about that. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm going to talk about women/partners and like our whole role in this like male endeavor. Okay? That's going to be fun. And then I'm going to talk about consent, you guys, because like it's a thing and I don't want anybody to like get hurt or like end up screwing up their lives or whatever, okay? So we're going to just like give a little like PSA on that at the end, okay? You guys, it is no secret that men think about sex more than women, okay? That's called, Weebles, it's fine. Hey, it's fine. It's called, you guys, it's called testosterone. It's the reason the human species, that and oxytocin, among other hormones, it's a reason we exist, that we have made it as a human species, folks, okay? So let's not dog men for thinking about sex more than women. That doesn't make them pervy or whatever. It makes them like part of what's keeping us a species, okay? Can we just like, just accept that? Okay, you guys, men are into visual stimulation more than women. Okay, why does that have to be like a bad thing? I mean, why does that have to be a judgy thing or like, ooh, you're gross? Like, why is that not just a thing? Like, that's biological, people. It's called evolutionary psychology, okay? I'm going to talk more about that. Yes, men are more turned on by visual stimulation. However, I will say this, men who are like porn watching and binging, you know who you are, that it's like porn only engages one, maybe two of the senses. It's visual and you can hear some stuff. But you guys, let's be honest. What's the best thing about like intimacy? It's like all the senses are engaged. Taste, smell, sound, touch, sight. This is what we like about sex. So you guys, obviously, like sex with another human is better. All right? So let's just say this. You guys, there's this concept, and I don't know, I don't like to like buy into stereotypes or concepts, whatever, but that like men need intimacy to feel connected and women need to feel connected to have intimacy. And not that this is true all the time. People can talk about how they're different. There are always exceptions to the rule, but you guys, I found this to be true. All right? So like intimacy is important to men in order to feel emotionally connected. And so like we need to know that as people. So I would say you guys have heard of the love languages, 4 or 5, whatever. But I've actually added one, which is maybe that's like narcissistic of me, but I think they missed something. So the 5 love languages are touch, acts of service, gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and I added a new one, emotional attunement. I'll talk about that maybe today, maybe like another time. But I would say anecdotally, based upon my practice, for 75 to 85% of men, like touch is their love language, meaning that's how they most feel loved. That's how they most understand love. So it's important for us to keep that in mind, that that's just like a thing. You guys, an emotional attunement as a love language just means like being like understanding what your partner is feeling and what they need. That's emotional attunement. That's a way to show someone that you love them. That's a way to feel loved. That's one of mine, you guys. That and words of affirmation, okay? So let's just like accept this about one another and just like, what's your love language? And then try to meet that thing. Like imagine how much easier that would be than all of this kerfluffling. Okay. You guys, I want to talk about sexual mapping. What is sexual mapping? Sexual mapping is like when people are sexual from infancy to death. And I know you think it's gross, some of you, whatever, it's just true. I mean, this has been like, like scientists have like vetted this properly, okay? That people are sexual from life, from conception, not conception, from being a baby. If any of you have had babies, you know babies will like touch their genitals because it feels good. Okay, they're not dirty. It's just called being a person until death. People are like sexual in nursing homes. Okay, that's whatever. Okay, sexual mapping is like what turns you on, and it takes place usually in childhood. And so I like to say the way that the brain works, not me, other people have said this, I'm just repeating, that the neurons that fire together wire together. So as you're coming of age and you're being sexual, certain neurons will start to connect and it will create sexual mapping. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that someone is like an adolescent and someone is tickling them and they get turned on. Okay, those are two sets of neurons firing together. They're going to wire together, and that person might be like turned on by tickling or some other thing, and like whatever. It's called sexual mapping. Let's not judge it. You can't even like, it happens before you can even like, you can't do anything about it. It's just like who you are sexually. It can actually be fun to like learn about, okay? Neurons that fire together, wire together. So let's not like judge people for what turns them on. And I'll get to like the things that we have to look out for later, okay? So you guys, I want to talk about fantasies in men too. I've like talked to a lot of men about their fantasies, and just because a man has a fantasy about something doesn't mean he wants that to happen in real actual life. So partners, if your partner shares a fantasy, it doesn't mean they're going to like run out and like have group sex or have sex with a man or whatever. A fantasy is just a fantasy. It can be confined to the land of the fantasy. Don't get weird. Don't get scared. It's fine. Some people act out their fantasies in real life and some people don't. And like, that's whatever, okay? So let's not freak out on each other and judge each other about that, okay? You guys, what I've learned about them is men would prefer to have sex with a partner. You guys, but that's not always possible. It's called being single, or your partner is out of town, or your partner has deceased, or whatever. Men don't always have that option. Would they prefer to have sexual intercourse with a woman or a man? Sure. But that's not always like available. And so then we get into porn. And you guys, I'm not anti-porn. I'm anti-abusing porn. I mean, porn is like a good stopgap when you're not like in an intimate relationship with a woman. But it's not like a long-term solution because it does not engage all five senses, which, come on, you guys, let's all be honest here, okay? So in the absence of like a sexual partnership or someone whom one can direct one's sexual energies toward, porn is often like overused, okay? Or used, whatever, okay? So what causes, psychiatrists think some sexual behavior is deviant. I have like some issue with this. There's some that we should avoid because of like certain reasons, but like I don't consider like anyone's sexual mapping deviant. I don't know if we should always act on it. However, when men are deprived of sex for long periods of time, it's like strange things will start to occur. And some psychiatrists call this sexual deviance, like fetishes. Like you start to like shoes or whatever. You guys, I've seen this. I've seen it all. And that usually happens when a man is somehow deprived or unable to access like the kind of sexual relationship he wants to with a partner. And then it starts to go all wonky. And that's not anything to judge someone for. That's just what happens. I don't think it should be like considered a psychological disorder. And you guys, that's just my opinion. And take it with a grain of salt, okay? Okay, what do men want from us partners? Men want their partners to initiate sex more. So if you're partnered with a woman, that can be difficult because go back to my women in intimacy video, okay? That can be difficult, but men want partners to initiate sex more and they want partners to show desire. I mean, as women, we'd love to feel desire, but FYI, so do men. They want to feel desired and sexy too, So if a woman is all like starfish, like just like get it over with, obligatory sex, that's not a turn on. Let's not do that to each other, okay? People want to feel desired. Like that's okay, that's normal. I mean, like this is why we need to like cultivate our intimate relationships. Also, like when men are shot down too much and told no too much, you guys, they quit trying. It's sad. They're just like total defeat. And that, if you're in a relationship and your partner is in sexual defeat, that is like dangerous for your relationship. Please don't do that. Please stop and think, okay, that this is healthy. We need healthy, intimate connectivity in a relationship, all right? And guys, come on. This is like most of this is common sense. It's just me telling, like, and like whatever, okay? So, you guys, okay, switch topics. I'm just going to go there. I want to talk about erections. Because you can't talk about men and sexuality with talking about erections. You don't know how many hours I've spent talking about erections. How firm is your erection? How often do you have an erection? What drugs do you need to get an erection? Erection. And so I want to talk about it because, you guys, I am a woman, but I feel like, not pity, but I feel like a sense of like empathy for men that they have to like get an erection or somehow they're a failure sexually. And frankly, I think that's bullshit. You guys, most of the causes of erectile dysfunction, I see this in my practice, are psychological. People want to think that they're like physiological and they're hormonal, and sometimes they are, but mostly they're psychological. And so, okay, whatever, we can deal with that. The good news is that's treatable, okay? So, what happens often is a man is like engaging with his partner and he like fails to get an erection. It's just like sometimes the body's just like, whatever, I'm going to do what I want, okay? But an erection doesn't happen, and then the man freaks out. And his partner's like, you're not attracted to me. You think I'm too fat. You don't like me. That's not true. It's just like the body just like did what the body does. It like had a thing. And people freak out about it because it happens once. For maybe you drank too much. Maybe you're thinking about work too much. Whatever. It happens once. And people get all freaked out about it. And they like, it starts to become a negative feedback in their loop in their head. Like they worry that they won't get an erection again. And the more you're in this head, the less you're in that head. To put it real honest for you, men. And so men start to get in their heads and their partners start to get in their head. Like, are you attracted to me? Am I going to get an erection? Is this going to be a successful sexual experience? Because that's a horrible thing to do to ourselves. There's more to sex than erections and orgasm and intimacy. It's about enjoying one another's spirit, enjoying one another's bodies, like feeling connected. It's not just like erection, orgasm equals success. It's about an experience. Let's like cut ourselves some slack and not make the stakes so freaking high here, folks. No wonder like things happen, okay? Let's not do that. Sex is not a performance. A performance is like anxiety producing. I know. Sex is it's an experience to share, or intimacy. It's not a fucking freaking performance. Let's not put our pressure on ourselves, men, to do that, or women to like put our men under that pressure, or partners. Like, that's not cool. That causes like problems. Let's not do that, okay? And women, it doesn't mean he's not attracted to you. You guys, in psychotherapy, in 15 years, I've never had a man tell me I couldn't get an erection because she wasn't attractive. Never. This is about something else, okay? Women, it's not about you. Chill. They think you're sexy. They think all of your lumps and bumps and stretch marks and all your like luscious womanness is sexy. It's not you, okay? All right. So we're almost at 20 minutes, you guys. You know I try to keep it concise, okay? Because people have a short attention span these days. But I'm going to do some seminars for like people who have longer attention spans, okay? Guys, talk about your fantasies. Talk about them. Don't be embarrassed. Trust your partner that they won't judge you. Be curious about one another. This is like good stuff, okay? Communicate about your sexuality and your intimate like preferences. All right? And don't judge yourself about your sexual mapping. Whatever turns you on. That happened early. Like the die was cast. You have no control over that. Let's just like get turned on and make it fun, okay? All right? You guys, I have 3 rules for sex. I used to have 2. This is a good story. But a client said I needed to add one. I always say everybody consents. No one underage. And then a client told me once you need to add animals to that. And I was like, what? And I was just like, okay. Yeah, animals can't consent, so no sex with animals. I don't feel like I should have to say that, but apparently I do, according to some very, like, learned professionals. Okay? You guys, if I had a male child, I don't have male children, but if I had a male child, I would be driving home this consent thing like that. I would be annoying about it. And here's why. Because I want to protect women, but also I would want to protect my male child from doing something that like potentially be ruinous to his life. So let's talk about consent with our children and not be so weird and let traumatic things happen to them before we like talk about it. You guys, it's okay. Cause it's an easy conversation to have with a child. I can model it for you if you'd like. Tell me what you know about consent. And they say something. You say this. You say consent is like asking someone specifically if they want to engage in this. Is this okay with you? And they say yes. All right. That's it. That's better than like some of the outcomes that have occurred that I've heard about, okay? All right, you guys. Guys, thanks for coming and listening and like you guys and like tuning in now and whoever's going to watch. You guys, like I said, I'm going to offer seminars soon because I want to go more in depth and I want to give like this kind of content, but I want to go deeper. And so I'm going to start giving some seminars on like couples and midlife and sexuality and blah, blah, blah. Okay? So look for that coming. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Look, just search for Naomi Bloom. You'll see my face. Okay? And I'm also on Instagram at Naomi_ELB. You guys, I'm going to do this every Sunday at 8. I am a committed woman, an individual. And I want you guys to send me pictures and videos and give me more feedback. I would like to hear from you guys. When I hear from you guys, it's like the best thing ever. A couple sent me a picture of them like being all loving. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is freaking amazing. I loved it. Send me more of those. And send me your dreams, you guys. I'm going to start to do a dream interpretation. Okay? That'll be fun. So send me a dream. Or if you want to be interviewed, maybe we can work that out about your dream and I will interpret it for you. Okay? And tell me, you guys, what you want to talk about. I'm thinking of focusing most on like sexuality and relationships because mental health is like a whole is a large thing and midlife because I think midlife is important. I'm thinking about like focusing on those things. Let me know what you guys think, what you want to hear about. Okay, you guys, thanks again for coming. I'm Naomi Bloom. You guys, I always have fun. I'm always nervous and like being super weird. But then when I do this, I'm just like, this is the most fun thing I've ever done. And thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are amazing. Okay? Bye, folks.